Hello, everyone. Thanks for being here. So welcome to the 18 CEG SRT's fifth episode of Healing Voices. We're calling this one Storytellers. So what we're doing for this one, if you haven't heard or seen the flyer, we did interviews across the group, and we had 4 members come back and decide to be vulnerable and tell us their story. What better way to learn resilience, right? Real stories from real people in real time. So what we're doing today, before we get started, I wanted to let you know some house rules, right? So this is the building itself is inherently a safe environment, right, from the elements outside. But inside, the only way we can make this a safe place is we're all willing to be vulnerable. And the 3 right here and the 4th individual here are the first people to be vulnerable that came to us and said they wanted to share their story. So what I ask is that we all open our minds, open our hearts, and be vulnerable back so we can help protect the space and also make it a safe space. The other thing I have for you is trigger warnings. So the lesson, the stories that you hear today, will go over. I mentioned some suicidal ideations. I mentioned some substance abuse. I mentioned abuse, period, violence, and also death will be mentioned today. With that being said, if those things do trigger you or bother you, feel free to step up quietly. You can leave the room. But we also do have some professionals in the room that can help you out when it comes to those certain topics. Cool. All right. Are you ready for our first speaker? Yeah. I need a little more energy. Are we ready for the first speaker? All right. Cool. So our first speaker is from the 718 Civil Engineer Squadron. Yeah. I'm not going to talk too much because he has his story that he's going to share with us, his different experiences. But he's going to talk about how trauma does not have to define you. Everyone, please give it up for Bruce.
Thank you, everybody. I brought some notes with me. So my name's Bruce. I'm with the 718 CES. I work in the environmental office. Before I came here, I was a volunteer firefighter and National Register Emergency Medical Technician Basic for 15 years in a volunteer fire department in rural Alabama. Learned a lot of life lessons, saw a lot of things, and I want to share that with you today. I'm going to tell you some stories. I've got some lessons, and then I am not a licensed clinical psychologist like we have here in the room, but I have some suggested coping and healing suggestions for body, mind, and soul. So I'm going to first talk about my training as a firefighter, then as an EMT. So we are required to go through the same firefighter training that the paid firefighters go through. We are exposed to the same hazards, fire, sharp objects, things that go boom and explode, all kinds of dangers in firefighting. We go through the same dangers as the paid firefighters do, but we do it for free. So it's always about safety first, of course. So I started off as just a basic firefighter, went through firefighting school, later became the training officer in the department, and then lastly, for the last 5 years, I was the assistant chief. When you start moving up in leadership, you have to make some decisions that put lives at risk. So for me, our priorities for safety, it was life comes first, and then property. So first comes the lives of our firefighters, right? They're the most important. Next is any civilian lives that we have at the scene. And then lastly, property. So in that order, never break that order. So some of the things we look at that could be immediately dangerous to life and health would be like propane tanks with fire nearby because you run into what they call a levee, a boiling liquid explosion hazard. These tanks can explode and do a lot of damage to people and property. More and more restless and excited, he eventually passes out. We call for an air ambulance. You call it medevac in the military. We set up a landing zone. He's still passed out, but still breathing. We get him loaded up on the helicopter. The helicopter takes off. It gets about 50 feet above the ground and immediately lands. They had a tail rotor warning, safety issue. They could not fly him. He gets back in the ambulance. He codes and did CPR on him, shocked him for about 20 minutes. He passed away. So I use this story to illustrate we did everything we could for this man, all the resources we had, all the training we had, all the equipment we had. Things still happen, and when it's your time, it's your time. And I tell any other First responders or medics, don't let it bother you that people pass when you have done your best, when you have used what you have, the training you have, the resources you have available. It's not your fault. Sometimes people just pass. So that's kind of a lesson with that one. The next was a young woman in her early 20s, well, I'd say she's early 30s. She was having an epileptic seizure. So I get there, she's on the kitchen floor. Her 13-year-old daughter is there, distraught, crying her eyes out, screaming, "Mommy, mommy, mommy." When I get there, again, I'm by myself. She's having a seizure. So in EMT school, we're taught with seizures, don't stick anything in the mouth like you see in the movies. Don't do that. So what you do is you try to give them space. Basically every neuron in their body is firing. All these muscles are contracting. It's very painful from what I understand. When the seizure stops, they will be exhausted. They basically have run a marathon in the 5 to 15 minutes that they're having this seizure. So the daughter is still crying. I'm talking to her again. I haven't had any training on this, right? I'm talking to the daughter. Is my mom going to be okay? Is she going to die? She's going to be okay. She's going to be okay. Give her some time. She needs to rest. She's going to be okay. And she was okay. But we're not taught how to deal with that in EMT school. It's not addressed. But she was okay. Next, we get a call for a 80-year-old woman. They just had a medical issue. Don't know what's going on. Yes, ma'am. So I get there. She's sitting down. She starts explaining to me she just had surgery. She has all the classic symptoms of aortic dissection. That's where your aorta splits. I told her, just sit there, don't move. She said, her daughter is incredulous, says, aren't you going to do anything? I said, I am doing something. If I move her, she could die. So sometimes doing nothing is the best thing to do. Next, I'm going to have to skip that one. This is kind of good. So in my rounds at the ER, this gentleman comes in. He's been shooting his pistol in the backyard, and he has a .45 caliber shaped cut in his eye right here, where the bullet had ricocheted back and cut his eye. His wife was scared to death he was going to die. The guy was actually fine, but I told him, you're really, really lucky. If it had been, another centimeter over, would have gone through your eye and your brain, you'd be dead. Maybe a little bit of fate involved. He was fine. He said he had one heck of a headache, but he was good. He had to get some stitches. So that's just kind of remind you, appreciate what you have. Miracles do happen. Another one, 16-year-old Oxycontin overdose. First one on the scene before the police were even there. The police told me not to go in. I said, I'm going anyway. This is important. So he had taken his mother's pain medicine. He says to me, am I going to die? And I said, no. Here's what's going to happen. You're going to be miserably sick. They're going to pump your stomach at the ER, and you're going to wish you were dead. But you're going to survive this. I hope you've learned from this. So kind of the lessons, stressful situations. When you get there as an EMT, you've got to compartmentalize, concentrate, be professional, and fall back on your training. After a while, it kind of becomes automatic. You go back to your training, go back to the basics. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. You can make mistakes if you try to rush through. Next, you can't save everyone or everything. You can do your best, but in the end, you can't always save everyone or everything. Next, I'd say never stop learning and share what you've learned with others. Next, this is kind of a stress management thing. So whatever's stressing you out, whether it's traffic or somebody that's annoying you, will that matter? Will that really matter in 5 minutes, 5 days, 5 months from now? Think about it. If your answer is yes to at least the first 2, stop worrying about it. If it won't matter in 5 minutes, why are you stressing out about it? The traffic's going to move. That annoying car is going to get out of your way. Just keep trucking. Next, I would say your roles, your experiences, and your mistakes have helped to shape you, but they don't define you. So that can go a lot of different ways, but the main thing is, for now, I'm an environmental scientist, or I'm an airman. But when you leave that job, that job was not just you. You're way more than your job. You're way more than your experiences. So when you walk away or forced to retire or whatever, don't let that be your full identity. My dad's retired Air Force. A lot of his buddies got out of the Air Force and they lost their identity. They, I was a pilot, or I was this, I was that, and they felt like nothing when they left. Don't let that be you. You're much, much more than your job, your role, and your experiences. 2 minutes. Okay. Have compassion. So you see something, somebody's having a bad day or whatever. You don't know everything that person's going through. They may have stressors you're not aware of. Maybe their kid's sick, or they're having problems with their spouse. So please have compassion on people when you see them misbehave. And the last lesson I'd say is don't compare yourselves to others. So we're all different, and diversity is kind of built into the system, right? We're all different. We're all good at different things, bad at different things. That doesn't make me better than you or you better than me. We're all just different, and just embrace that and accept that. It's actually a strength. So really quick coping, mind, body, and soul, really quick, some suggestions. So find your life purpose. It's called ikigai in Japanese, which means alive and benefit or work. Find your purpose in life, something that you want to get out of life, and pursue that with all your might. Speak with others with similar experiences. Listen to music you like. Spend time outdoors. Get into some physical activity, gym, run, walk, yoga, swimming, whatever. Religious activities that make you happy, or spiritual activities. Try meditation, hobbies, and professional help. So I'm sorry, I want to talk longer, but I'm going to have to wrap it up. I hope someone got something out of this, and I hope you walk away with a positive experience. Thank you all for your time.